And joining me this week, Dean Patch, co-founder of the corporate advisory and corporate governance proxy advisory firm Ownership Matters.
Hello.
Dean. And Nabila Ahmed, the companies and markets editor of the Financial Review.
Morning.
And my colleague at Business Spectator, Stephen Bartholomew.
Hi.
Welcome, everybody. Stephen, explain how Virgin can have such a large amount of foreign ownership with the take, because I think it's over 50% now, which is not supposed to happen. So how does that work?
It will be over 50% if Eddie had buyers that second 5%. They've got 4.9% at the moment. You remember Virgin restructured earlier in the year, and in effect they've quarantined their international business, which has got the bilaterals in it, within the structure and capped the foreign ownership at less than 50%. The domestic business sits on top of that. It's in the holding company. And fundamentally, you could have 100% foreign ownership of that. You know, Qantas can't do that because they're subject to the Qantas Sales Act, which prohibits that. But Virgin could actually, theoretically, be 100%
so they could turn Virgin effectively into a consortium of international airlines?
Well, that's sort of happening anyway. I mean, Branson's got 26%, so there's a Virgin Atlantic tie-up there. Etihad will move to 10%, and Hogan has said that they might actually go higher than 10 if they're allowed to somewhere down the track, and Air New Zealand's got just under 20%. So fundamentally it's foreign as we speak, and it could go higher. They've got alliances with Singapore and Delta, so you could bring them in as well. All of Qantas's main competitors are now sitting around that table.
The other thing that came out of that interview for me was when I asked him whether they're making money on business airfares or business class at minus 25% fares, he said, "Oh, well, you have to look at the whole thing." What I reckon that is an admission that they're loss leading in business class. I mean, did you get that or not?
I got the feeling as well. I mean, it's clear that Virgin are wanting to get the business traveller by hook or by crook, because really that's where the coin is, particularly on the profitable Melbourne to Sydney route. So.
Yeah, and what didn't go to air, but it's on the longer version of the interview on the website, is I asked him whether they're going to have a chairman's lounge.
Is that right?
That Qantas has, and this smile came across his face. You should have had a look at it. I couldn't possibly say that on national television, but of course they are. They're going to have. They'll have the chairman's lounge, which is where the politicians and CEOs go.
So it shows the irrationality of business airfare pricing, where people are, paying to network. Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, that's right.
I think it's a good thing, though, if they can snare some of that away from Qantas. It's a massive win for them. I think it's not a bad one to use as a loss leader. It's
a nightmare scenario for Qantas, though, isn't it? If they're getting creamed by these international partners on their offshore routes, the thought of them coming in and playing a game of, capital chess against Qantas in their domestic market is a disaster, because Qantas won't be able to raise capital and won't be able to compete with capacity in the same way that Virgin could, potentially.